Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all over the world. Dobson777a here. Oh, my nose just started itching. Why does it do that? I guess I hadn't been talking till just now. Bet you like seeing me do that. Well, I'll tell you what, I've been watching some videos because, we kept thinking we're going to be going into a grand solar minimum. And I talked about before that CMEs have been a major issue when you're heading in that particular direction. And the sun is starting to wake up because we go through this, I read this 11 or 12-year cycle, and we're heading towards a maximum. And each one of the maximums lately have been, less and less sunspot activity. But the sun has been kicking off some massive CMEs. Luckily, they've been on the backside or on the side of the sun, not facing the Earth. But these things are kind of scary. Our Earth's magnetic field has dropped somewhere in the order of like 20% from the last time we had the Carrington event, which was like in the 1850s. And so if we got a similar X-class type CME, this could be really catastrophic. And plus, at that time, the only electrification we essentially had in the country was telegraph type stuff, teletype. No, not even teletype, just telegraph. And so now with everything being so doggone interconnected, this would drop us back to the 1800s in no time. And I've talked about before, doggone telegraph offices caught fire, buildings caught fire, everything connected could be major risk with a CME. All these wires we got everywhere, just induced electrical currents, could be really bad. So I want you to kind of keep an eye out. There are several channels that cover this, and I'll probably cover that in a video in the future here, but it's looking more and more likely like we're gonna have some pretty exciting stuff here. So Josh Matthews, Corolla AE86. If we end up with a similar Carrington type thing and we basically blow up transformers in large parts of the world, we don't have those things sitting on the shelf. And so you're basically looking at no electricity for a decade or more, significant loss of life. And, when you get a significant loss of life, you cannot maintain any of the complex infrastructure and everything that we have. You're basically heading to Stone Age very quickly. And yes, so you think about hospitals and everything else, electricity, no refrigeration at your house, no nothing. That becomes a major problem. And, even if you had some level of self-sufficiency like I have, man, you think about it, you're not going to have water coming to your house. Even the solar stuff I put on, that's probably all going to be fried. So if you got some rain catchment, you got a chance. If you got septic tanks like I have, you can take your rain catchment water and still use your toilets. And sanitation is huge. If you're in the cities, a lot of the sanitation all requires pumps to the treatment plants and everything. And the treatment plants aren't going to have power to treat anyways. So city water is going to cut off, your propane's going to cut off, your natural gas is going to cut off. Wintertime is going to suck, no electricity for heating. So that's why I've got the wood stoves. Get low tech. Like I got propane tanks, portable propane tanks. I got quite a few of them that I can actually cook on grills outside. I also have wood that I can cook on. But the only thing that I figured out to do is try to get these jars of mason jars, which don't require refrigeration and everything, and try to get as much of that stuff canned up because you're probably not going to have refrigeration, folks. And another thing, I've got a house with a basement. So in the middle of the freaking summer when it's terribly, terribly hot, you can go down in the basement where it's cool and potentially sleep, where you're not going to be able to sleep. My son's out in California. He says like 106 degrees. He just relocated from one place to another. He says it's terrible out there. So again, no power, you're going to turn into beef jerky and that kind of stuff. I know this kind of stuff is very hard to think about because the majority of the folks have no preparation, zero, nada, and it's going to be catastrophic. You're not going to have fuel for your vehicles. I used to do videos and I said, what if what you have is all you're going to have? Anybody remember those videos where I talked about that? Because that's what would happen if you had a CME. Whatever you have right now is all you're going to have. And so you just think about, how's that going to work? And everybody says, well, I'll just go live off the land. Well, I'll tell you what, there ain't that much stuff out there. I mean, I've got gardens and everything. I don't know how much of that I can protect. Hopefully I can get some of my family here and then we can try to take care of it. But, if people are scattered all over the country and there's no fuel, they ain't getting anywhere. You're just stuck wherever you're at. So I've been trying to plan for this for years. And, I've got multiple redundancies at all different levels. And hopefully I can keep things going. I need to get some more chicken feed and stuff, but, I got eggs. You try to think about stuff that is recurring food, like your gardens, which primarily only produce really in the, spring, summer type stuff. Your chickens can pretty much produce all year round if you can get some feed. So you got to think about, God dang, that's a hard thing to do if you think about trying to get feed for chickens. I don't know. That's not going to be around. Yeah, I forget what they said. It's something like 72 hours, all hell breaks loose. Because people, they don't cook anymore. They don't have food at their house. They, eat out at restaurants for everything. So that's when you're really going to see the cities burn. By the way, how many people have been following what's going on with the election fraud? They're actually using the word fraud now. And, we started out in Arizona and they are a long ways along, but there's still some court stuff going on because they haven't released the routers and stuff yet, or the passwords to them. And then we've got now Georgia is recognizing the Fulton County, which is, the largest county, I think, in the state. They've got all kinds of problems. And there's a guy, I'm going to try to find a video on him, but he's apparently mapped all the major counties in the U.S. and has shown by color coding, like red, where it's like massive fraud, yellow, a little bit of fraud, and then green, it's like nothing to write home about. And so he's shown the areas that need to be looked at. So I'm sitting here. It's very possible we're going to see some of these states decertify. I don't know what that's going to do for like the presidential, but they'll definitely overturn some of the lower level races. But the presidential, that could mean that we go back to the Electoral College and decertify some of that stuff. I don't know. And then that's going to be like Supreme Court level stuff when that happens. So the question is, how long is this going to take? Because Arizona is kind of like first out the gate, and they actually have changed some of their laws, and it's actually been tested by the Supreme Court and accepted. I think it was primarily about those drop boxes and stuff like that. I forget what the name of that is, but a lot of the other states are now following exactly what they did, and they're starting down that path. There is actually really strong case law about election fraud and stuff, and that it's not allowed to stand. And my hope that, that'll actually be fixed. Even Tucker Carlson, if you remember when Trump was saying that there was all kinds of fraud and everything, Tucker Carlson's like, show me the evidence, show me the evidence. Well, the other day he did a video and he said, oh yeah, this is all screwed up. What's happened in Atlanta is a perfect example. This is it can't be called anything but fraud. So I think we're going to see some of these major news organizations starting to actually have to admit that this was screwed up. So we'll have to see what happens. I don't. I think there's a potential here still that this could be turned over, but I got a feeling it'll be towards the end of the year if they even do anything, because they got to get all of the swing states through this same process. And you think about um, um, Arizona's still not done, and we're freaking in July. So, but the first one through is kind of proving how to do it, and the rest of the stuff will, rest of the folks will follow that lead. So maybe they don't have to reinvent the wheel so much. I'm kind of 50-50 on whether this is actually going to do anything or not, but I think there's a possibility. So where have I been? Sometimes life gets a little busy. I don't know how to explain that. And then I also noticed, like this week, something, or maybe I should say around the weekend, I just all of a sudden had like no energy. And it's so, I think sometimes, how many people you're like, run, 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 you're doing all kinds of stuff. And then all of a sudden you realize you burned it at both ends and you kind of collapse. So today I started feeling like I was coming out of my coma. And I mean, I still get up and I do things. Like today I sent out a thing where I pickled a whole bunch of cucumbers, made some dill pickles, but it's not the same energy I normally have. And I wasn't sick. I think I was just run down, exhausted. So anyways, sometimes that happens. And then all of a sudden I'll be good for months again. But every once in a while you just got to stop. Yeah, Susan's trying the water glassing the eggs. That works really well, actually. Yeah, Georgia's looking at it. Pennsylvania's looking at it. I can't remember all the different states. Wisconsin and Minnesota could be. Yeah, every once in a while when I forget which one of my eggs cartons I had were the oldest, I go do the water glassing thing to try to make sure they're not too old. But I've been giving away a lot of eggs, so I'm trying to keep up with my eggs so I don't have any sitting around too long. I really need to start marking the cases. I mean, it's probably, gosh, I probably have 14 eggs every 2 days. I did put a thing on Craigslist to get rid of some of my hens. I've got like 7 that are over 2 years old, and I've got 4 that are 1 year old, and then I've got another 12 that are getting close to 3 months old. So I got to get rid of my older hens because those 12 are going to be a lay-in here in about another month. Pickled coleslaw. Yeah, I was thinking about, in fact, I was talking to one of my friends about Tucker Carlson. I said, when he did his video the other day and said, oh, yeah, we've got some problems in some of these states, he should have had Trump on there and apologized, because he was telling Trump he was full of it, with the election fraud. But here we are now, 8 or 9 months later, and it's starting to show. Yeah, I don't know about the mineral oil on the shells. If you take these eggs after they've been laid and you just put them in a carton, they'll last about a month without any refrigeration. If you put them in the fridge, they'll last 4 or 5 months. So it's one of those things that most people don't realize that. And the stuff you get in the store, they're 5 to 6 months old. So my eggs, I'm typically eating them in no more than a week or 2 fresh. And good grief, they are so bright. I showed you some videos before, the store bought versus the eggs that I have. They are super bright colored, actually gorgeous orange. Mr. Steinberg is in the house. 14 minutes on here. My eyes are wanting to go. So I got an appointment with, I don't know if it's an ophthalmologist or whatever. It's a specialist place for cataracts. So that's later this week. I got a feeling that they're going to want to do lens replacements. So you're going to notice I'm going to be probably glass free probably in less than a month. I don't know how long after you have that appointment that you go, yep, you got cataracts. It's already been confirmed by the regular eyeglass place I go to. He goes, yeah, I can't adjust your eyes anymore. The cataracts are getting too bad. So anyways, that's going to be actually pretty nice to where I can just wear sunglasses without these. And they got all kinds of fancy lenses they can put in there now where you don't need even reading glasses. They have like a couple different focal points that they set in there. So I'm kind of, yeah, proctologist. He's going to be looking a long ways to get to my eyes. Yeah, those freeze dryers, I looked at it. I thought, that might be the way to go. But man, it's another chunk of money. So the canning thing seems to work pretty good for me. My last electric bill, which, we're kind of hot right now, even though we've had a lot. And by the way, even though we've had a lot of rain, I bet you we've only had one day without rain over the last several weeks. But my electric bill was, and this is a big house, $107. And I got 2 refrigerators, 3 freezers, and all the other stuff. But anyways, the solar is doing its job, but I haven't done a summary in a while. I got to sit down and do that, kind of show where we're at. But it's, it's still doing its thing. Yeah, so I was looking at the market today. I saw some of the percent changes for a lot of the precious metals and miners. Curiously, I think I was looking at gold was up today while everything else was down. So it was serving its purpose. And I've noticed the gold silver ratio has been rising. I think gold silver ratio is up to 70 now. I think I still have it up here. Got as high as 72, but it's been rising over the last, let me set it up here. It's been rising since the beginning of July because it was at 68 and it's up to, I can't read this thing. Oh, 71, nearly 71. Nunya Biz. That's kind of a cool name. Mine's boring. Dobson777 Alpha. Yeah, my because of the rain, I can't keep that diatomaceous earth out on there. It keeps getting washed off, and my pole beans, which I've got 2 cases of quart-sized jars filled up, they're just getting eaten alive by those Japanese beetles. And my cucumber plants got that mold that you get on there. And again, can't do anything about it because if you go out there and spray, it's just raining every day. The Meter Maid cart, I haven't even driven it in a couple months because I primarily use that for the moving the wood around, like when I'm splitting wood and everything. And I don't have any more wood to do. I'm actually kind of cleaning everything up on the driveway because I'm getting ready to coat the driveway, but it's like raining every day. So I had patched, if you remember, I patched all the cracks, and I've been just waiting for like a week of no rain so that I can do the driveway. The driveway is overdue. I should have done it last year, but I patched the areas that need to be patched, and I got to get out there as soon as I can see a clear patch of course, then it's going to be 500 degrees out there. But anyways, I'm going to try to get that coated really quick. I saw something about the Fed and the reverse repo, but I haven't looked at it carefully. Right now, there's another thing out there where anybody see that the Japanese prime minister or somebody was talking to our government saying, hey, look out, you're probably going to have another Pearl Harbor. It's funny that they would tell our government that, but they think there's going to be a play to go get Hong Kong and everything else if they take out Hawaii. So look out. There's all kinds of bad news stuff that's the world's ending, type stuff I'm reading about. I don't know if you guys heard about that or not. Russia and China have been doing a lot of Navy drills together. I heard they were trying to close down Gitmo again, so they're moving some folks from there to Madrid, and you never know. And if we go and get our Hawaii wiped out again, that's just what we need. Of course, now it's not going to be a couple carriers doing this. This is probably just going to be a nuclear bomb just to flatten that whole area. That'd be miserable. Probably be perfect time to do it when we have a CME, right? During all the confusion. What was the other news we had here? Malaysia destroyed 1,000 Bitcoin mining rigs with a steamroller. Yeah, this is the article on Zero Hedge. Scramble into treasuries could spark month-end reverse repo chaos. Yeah, I saw that just before I did this. Anybody see the 2 dams in China's Inner Mongolia collapse after heavy rain? And then did you see what was happening in Germany? Germany was like, holy crap. 180 people from flooding out there. And somebody else was telling me something else was going on in Germany. I can't remember. So they had like a double whammy going on. That meter maid card is really cool though. I was thinking about, I do this racing stuff. I was thinking about painting that thing to look like a little miniature fire truck and hang a couple ladders on it and put like a hose reel on the back and just for show, and turn that into like a little fire truck. I thought that would be really cool. Yeah, they're really pushing this. What is that called? The COVID variant stuff now. They're trying to push us back for some reason. And they're all just trying to say, don't you remember how clean the air was and how quiet it was and the water was clean? And so, anyways. Yeah, I still may end up doing that car into a fire truck. I think that would be the ultimate use of that. But it's just one more thing to do on the list. That's kind of like my fall, winter type thing when nothing else is going on. Just pull it in the garage and sand the whole thing down and do it. That would be an ultimate thing to do. I need to put like a turbocharger on that thing to get a little more speed out of it. That'd be a cool thing for a parade, though. But I think the fire truck is where I'm heading because that would be really cool to bring to these racetracks. You just do it over in, in the pit areas, which I usually get a pit pass. And so you just drive around in that thing. Everybody would love it. Yeah, there is a governor on there, and I've watched some videos about messing with it, but some of what I've been doing is just trying to get all the maintenance done. Like I got all the brakes, I got the bearings done. I need to change the um, like the brake fluid. Got to change the oil in it. Get everything to up to the latest and greatest stuff. It's not really a safe vehicle, so you don't want to go too dang fast in that thing because that thing is all metal, no airbags, none of that kind of stuff. So, but I bet you, I don't know. I wonder how far that thing goes on a gallon of gas. It holds like 5 gallons, so probably be good enough if I need to get to the store, if we still had stores to get anything. No, the weather has been crappy here. Just really crappy. Every day, rain, nonstop. It actually, many days reminds me of Florida, where the stuff rolls in like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, big old thunder boomers. And I mean, it just pours here. So I never did get it finished. I got a good start on the boat, but I never did get finished. I probably just need to take it in and let somebody else finish it for me. It's not enough time. It's hard to do everything by yourself, too. My dog, that was another thing that was going on. Remember how I lost my other dog at the beginning of the year? Well, the same thing started happening to my black lab. Couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. So I finally, I go to the doctors, they check everything. There's no parasites. His blood work's all good. He had a little bit of a fever, so they gave him some antibiotics, but that didn't seem to be doing, he just wasn't eating. He didn't want to eat. And so I finally said, okay, these clowns, nobody seems to know what's going on. I had 3 different things I was feeding him. I had like a milk bone treat that he'd get in the afternoon, so I just cut that out. And then he was eating the Purina dog chow, the beef. And then I also was kind of mixing in some salmon stuff that I got from Sam's Club, some salmon dog food. And I got to thinking, well, what if this stuff is just too rich for these dogs? And so I went and got, because I used to feed my dogs just Benefil. And so I went and got the Benefil chicken. And then I would take some canned chicken that I have, and I would just put some in there with some of the juice. And then he's been eating that now for like a week and a half. And all of a sudden, he's like snapped out of it. You could tell that his stools are all proper. He's had more energy. He's acting more happy. And so I'm beginning to think that maybe that other food was just too rich for him or something, or I don't know. Like I've got the gluten problem, and I got to thinking, well, I don't know if these dogs can get that what was it, Lone Star tick, where they get allergic to beef or something. I didn't know. It's called alpha-gal, but it's like you got to try stuff. But all of a sudden, it seems like I've got them back straight again. I had to just put them on a milder diet. Yeah, we have just had rain after rain after rain. All my flowers, everything out there looked fantastic, except for the things that got hit with what was that stuff called? Like a fungus. Even my azaleas, I got to go spray them with some copper stuff again. Sports mix fish. Okay. Where do you get that at? Lightning fires in San Diego, huh? Did you see that thing that was out in the water where it was like a line that broke and they claimed that lightning hit it, and it was like a fire in the water. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. I didn't dig into that to see how deep that was, that it was flaring up through the water to actually have a fire in the water. I don't know if they were able to clamp that thing off yet or not. Tractor Supply. "30 minutes has gone by already. Good grief." So what about the Cuba? That was quite a problem for the admin who's been pushing all this socialist crap, when Cuba, just to the south of us, is waving American flags, and yet our admin, is like touting all the socialism, and they're like, "Why are they waving flags?" Well, it's kind of funny. So anyways, that's caused a little bit of trouble. All the Cubans are like, yeah, give us America. We don't like this stuff here. There's even thunder out there right now. I just heard thunder. And then Lake Powell supplies water to 30 million people and irrigation of 5 million acres. They're concerned that the hydroelectric plant's going to shut down, and they're going to have to shut off the water. And I don't think there's much end in sight right now for this heat wave that's kind of parked over the West. Yeah, the problem is if we have an EMP, I'm not going to have lights either. So I've got some candles that I've put together. I've got, the best thing you can do is try to get several of those packs of LED lights that you use for like lighting up walkways. And you can set them out in the sun during the day and then have them in the house at night. So you at least have a little bit of light, because those things, they actually last quite a long time if we get, a decent amount of sun during the day, because I put them around my chicken houses outside, mainly for predators and stuff, but just have a little bit of lighting when I go out there. And they last a long time into the night. Now, in the wintertime, when the sun's lower, they don't last quite as long. But I'll tell you what, I think those are probably some of the best things you can get. And they're fairly inexpensive. You get like a 10-pack or something, and you just kind of set them on your table as like some lights you can put out throughout your whole house, and then just go put them outside again in the morning. Yeah, you can use kerosene in those oil lamps. So I've got several containers, but it actually burns pretty quick. If you use these LED lights, they actually last for years too, because I've set some out there in my driveway, and they're several years old and still doing a very good job. Yeah, the biggest problem you have with your inverters and everything is just all the wires running to it. You can't shield everything. The only thing you can really do is buy spare inverters and have those in a shielded thing, and then you just swap them out. But I'm going to tell you right now, if we end up with a CME, it's typically not just going to be one. And if you had an EMP, it's not going to be just one. And so you're going to go weeks before you feel comfortable in trying to put something else back on there. Because if I was a military planner, I'd plan on hitting them more than once. That Carrington thing lasted for days too. People were reading the newspaper in the middle of the night because of the what do they call that? Aurora Borealis was, so far south and so bright. I mean, I was thinking that even like all your electronics for radios and stuff, you try to keep a few of those things working. The military has, protected equipment that they'll be able to do it, but they're not necessarily going to be talking to the rest of us. So, like your ham equipment, if you can get some of that where it's, not powered on, not connected to the antennas, unplugged from the outlet, it's going to survive a very high dose. If you get the older ones, like I have, I've got, a couple of these things where they're tube types. Those are extremely immune to EMP. So we'll just have to see. But like I said, I'd probably wait a couple weeks before I would even plug those things in to make sure things are nice and stable. You'll be able to tell. But it's just going to be hunker down for weeks. Yeah, I heard about these repeaters being taken down. Yeah, the biggest problem you got is like your neighborhood, all the wiring coming into your neighborhood. You need to be, probably the safest thing is pull the poles down and take the wires free so that you're not hooked to the big long transmission lines coming from like across the country, because those are going to be trillions of volts and amps and stuff coming through. And you want to keep the line lengths as short as possible. So maybe if you could even somehow, isolate at the beginning of the neighborhood, and then at each house pull your mains and then put some isolated material in there. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. There's not much you can do depending on, what X class CME. I mean, I've looked at this a number of ways. We're just kind of screwed. You're probably going to be living in your driveway in a tent if you can get the stuff out quick enough. Just count on being alone. Because the cities and states, they're not going to know what to do. Just remember, CME or an EMP, no traffic lights. I think modern vehicles are still going to run, but you're going to have only whatever gas you got in your tank. You're not going to be able to get any out of the pumps because the pumps aren't going to work. I don't know if they're going to let you, siphon it out of the tanks. The military and everything will probably be blocking borders and stuff. They'll probably be just telling everybody to stay in their neighborhoods, not go anywhere. They're probably going to lock down the cities. It's my guess, because you're not going to want roaming hordes. I don't know. This is going to be really curious how this is all handled. You're basically going to be on foot unless you got like something super old, like my little police car. And I need to get my boat filled up with fuel because that holds like 50 gallons and I can get that out. And then I try to keep like 15 gallons in my trailer for all my lawn equipment and everything else. But after a few weeks, you probably have a month when you start seeing massive die-off. And obviously it'd be the folks that are stuck on, medications that they can't get anymore. frail older folks, that are obviously in hospitals, that they're not going to have power to keep them going, nursing homes, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be massive. And then you start moving into, the people's homes where people are staying, and long-term care facilities, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think in the big cities is where you got the biggest problems, not so much in the country, because they know in the country everybody's got weapons. So we'll see. I like my chances where I'm at. Man, this isn't the greatest conversation, but trying to get you to think a little farther along. If all you got is what you got in the refrigerator, if you got a bunch of canned goods, that's going to help you a lot. If you have a whole bunch of dried, like beans and rice and stuff, that lasts a long time. Rice is the densest, most nutritious, and longest preserved type stuff that you can get. I mean, a 50-pound bag at Sam's Club, I haven't looked at it in a little while, but maybe 17, 18 bucks, let's say 20 bucks, 50 pounds. And that 50 pounds makes a ton. Now, I highly recommend you get a bunch of seasoning, because rice by itself, I mean, I see these Asians, they eat that damn rice by itself. I can't stand it by itself. I got to have something in there. I got to put some chicken flavoring or some butter flavoring or something, because rice by itself it kind of reminds me of a biscuit. I know some of you guys probably like biscuits, but I just thought I'm, throwing a handful of flour in my mouth. I never liked biscuits that well. Now, if you throw a salted cured ham piece in there, I can then choke it down. But I never liked biscuits for that reason. Rice is kind of the same way. But rice will stretch, like all these jars that I've got. You cook some rice, and then you take those jars, a quart jar with a bunch of rice, you take that quart jar, put it on the rice. You could probably feed 4 people out of each jar per meal, Yeah, chili on rice is good too. So 25 bucks. Yeah, I can't remember. That must have gone up, because it seemed like I was getting it for under 20 bucks. But yeah, that's rough pricing. I used to always get the potatoes too, but then I started realizing the potatoes is, the Calrose. Okay. If you get the fortified rice, it's cheaper, but I used to get some of the jasmine rice too, because I like the jasmine rice. Yeah, if you got your garden, that helps a lot too, because like I had like 150 pounds of onions that I got this year. It was fantastic. Each year I'm getting better and better and better at it. So that was a bumper crop, and I've been eating the crap out of my onions. And you throw some of them in there. You got some jalapenos, you got some bell peppers. Yeah, you can make a pretty dang nice meal. It seems like all I've got out there is mint. My mint took over my whole herb garden. So I used to have a whole bunch of stuff like dill and everything else in there, and it looks like the mint just took it over. It's frustrating. I think next time what I'm going to do is put some dividers in, that are like tamped down way down in the ground, and then the stuff can just stay in the one area. I probably got to go dig it all out and redo the whole thing. But man, that mint was amazing. But, that's good stuff for tea and everything else too. Yeah, if you got a garden, here's another thing. Plant a bunch of potatoes. I planted, all the red potatoes. In fact, I got to go dig them all out. They're ready to come out. And then I've got sweet potatoes too, because they actually store in the ground a long time. Yeah, onion, pepper, tomato, and chicken on rice. It's excellent. I love yellow rice, truthfully. So I usually make like a pseudo yellow rice. I've got this butter flavoring. I mix it with coconut oil and I put that in the rice. Oh my God, that's so good. In fact, I use that on my eggs and everything. Oh, a mint garden planted next to your chicken house. That's cool. Yeah, my big garden that's over on the side of the house that, I planted corn and everything. I never did put the weed cloth down, and the thing just grew up into this nasty thing. It's disgusting. We had so much rain; it's just disgusting, and so it's out of control down there. I think the only thing I'm going to get out of it this year is the strictly the corn because it grew up above everything else. I did buy some black plastic for some of the beds that I'm not using out front, and I'm going to put that over the bed so I don't have to go out there weeding all the time. And then some on the side areas, I'm going to put the black plastic in too, try to kill everything off. The dog dug up the mice. Okay. Yeah, my whole yard's just grown up. I don't know how the sweet potatoes did this year, but I took a lot of care getting that planted. So hopefully they did okay. Well, we're at almost 47 minutes. I think we're going to cut it down because it is late, 10 o'clock now. It's almost past my bedtime. So, anyways, I had a good time with you. It went really fast. So I hope everybody's treating you well. I hope you're doing well. Do the best you can. God bless.